Hello there, beautiful soul humans. How's everyone doing? Let me just make sure we don't get an echo here. Hold on one sec. There we go. All right, welcome everybody to this Scorpio full moon energy update. And we also have Uranus and Jupiter in a conjunction just before the full moon. So I'm going to be looking at this from the perspective of a starseed, empath, light work, and what this really actually means for us. Now, if you're new to me, my name is RozyGlow. Welcome everybody who's just joined the Manifesting Star Pieace Utopia Facebook group. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please do check out the link below to join the Manifesting Star Pieace Utopia Facebook group, because this is where we bring our energies together. This is where we get to solidify this frequency and allow it to become something that manifests in our physical reality. And that's one of the most beautiful gifts that's coming with this conjunction that's coming up, and also the full moon. Now, caveat, I am not an astrologer, okay? I am not going to be taking you through all the transits and what they all mean. I work with the new moons and the full moons, the equinoxes, the solstices, the major conjunctions that go on, the astrological events, and anything else that I hear about that I know is part of us all activating our own soul blueprint. So the map that we gave ourselves to make sure that we actualize our soul purpose. And if you like the sound of that, then thank you so much for the likes, the loves, the subscribes. Everything really, really helps to make this more visible. And this is the opportunity. We are getting a wonderful opportunity with this full moon to dig really, really deep and find the gold. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. And if you want to know a little bit more about my perspective, I am a channel of divine grace, which means the power of revelation. I'm a psychic soul coach, a multidimensional sacred union coach. And what that actually means is really, I work with those who are here to trailblaze a new earth reality. We're here to either be architects, builders, or energizers of a new world paradigm. I recognize this as star seeds, but you might know yourself as a highly sensitive person. You might be recognizing yourself as neurodivergent. There might be other titles that you have come to. But for me, we're on a volunteer mission. We're on a volunteer mission from other parts of the cosmos to come to this planet. No, it doesn't feel like home for us. We don't feel like belong. We want to go home every so often, and we realize, well, home is everywhere because we are the universe. And the opportunity really that we have said yes to is to bring unified frequency consciousness to a divided dualistic planet to create unity. And that is the invitation of this Scorpio full moon. So I've written some notes to keep to script, and I'm going to say straight away to mark your calendars for a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to be hosting the full moon co-creation meditation, world service and personal healing on Monday, the 22nd of April. Now, this will be at 8 p.m. British Standard Time. So take away 5 hours for Eastern Time. That's 3 o'clock. And then it will be, I think, midday. Yeah, midday for it to be Pacific time. And the point of this is it's a closed community event. It's not something that I publicize on YouTube or even in the Facebook group, because it's where I get to interact with you and bring our energies together. So we are co-creating together. I'm holding the space for you to amplify your frequencies, and together we create a vision that we energize and clear resistance to, both for our personal goals and also our collective goals. So typically I work with I am statements, which activate our higher self, our I am presence. And I say our highest self because there are all these different timelines available to us. And recently our planet went through a timeline quantum leap. And this has been going on now since November. So interestingly, last new moon in Scorpio, end of October, November, this was when this timeline shift started to occur. And it's all about the shift from the hexagonal timeline, which I'll just call the ego timeline, the false matrix or the fear matrix timeline, to the octagonal timeline, which is the divine matrix. It is the heaven on earth. It is the paradise earth planet. And this paradise earth timeline. And this is the beautiful thing, is for us to recognize that there's a lower octave and a higher octave to the way we express our consciousness. We can either express from our wounded human self. And when I say wounded, I mean from the survival programming that we have inherited through our bloodlines and just through the process of creation. We can operate from there, which keeps us in struggle and stress and lack, trying to help make the world a better place, fighting for change, being anti-war, anti-racism, anti-bloody everything. And as a result of that, being in a state of division ourselves and never actually really being able to have the effect that we want to, because we're motivated by our pain. And this full moon is giving us the opportunity to really draw out that pain where it still is in our consciousness, in our energy field and our cellular memory. And when we actually look at the higher octave of this, it is actually coming from our resolved space. So taking the wounding that we have inherited, taking the wounding we have experienced, seeking out resolution, which typically means looking to bring healing to that which feels traumatized. As a result of that, activating our own mastery codes, because anything we struggle with in this lifetime, we're masters of in the non-physical. We choose to come to this earth to remember again what we already know as a way that is basically a service to others, to show that it can be done. It can be done again and again and again. And this resolve place is really from the higher heart. So moving from the ego programming in the solar plexus and the wounded inner child to the higher heart, where we're bringing in the resolve masculine, resolve feminine, the mature, if you like, the father energy that is healthy and whole, the mother energy that's healthy and whole, to create the circumstances that allow our inner child in all the ages that we exist to feel our needs are met. And therefore, rather than trying to create all these protective programs to stop ourselves feeling the lack, the pain, the struggle that is all around us, we've got all this energy to self-actualize, to create from a space of curiosity and desire. And here's the clue. We move beyond judgment and beyond cruelty. Both elements that can really be the shadow element of Scorpio, into kindness and into compassion. Now, if you allow yourself again to think of Scorpio energy as the lower octave being the scorpion, which has the sting in the tail, and then the higher octave being the eagle that actually can go through a process of regeneration, very similar to the phoenix, where it's quite a painful process of shedding the old, which anyone who's on a path of ascension knows exactly what I mean, to actually regenerate and create double life, if you like, double as long to live, but from this higher perspective. So there comes a point, I think it's around 40 years of age, that an eagle will smash its own beak. And it's a painful process to actually create a new one, to grow a new one, and also to pull out all their feathers. They end up a bald eagle, and then they get a plush new set of feathers. It's like a total regeneration. My point for us is that this Scorpio full moon is giving us the opportunity to take a step back and a step up from the way we normally see things, and to take this bird's eye view perspective where we can get to see how even those things that are really unpleasant, really horrific going on in this world are playing their part to unify us, not against a common enemy, which is the old way, the patriarchal paradigm. Oh, it's them against us. Let's all come together. We've got this common enemy, and if it's not something on our planet, it's going to be the aliens, right? Just think about it. To actually unifying with a common intention, a common desire to make manifest on this planet. And that's our role, starseeds. That's our role, light workers and empaths. Now, I want to make very clear one thing. On the light worker path, there can be this sense of, I've got to be holier than thou. And I see massive increase in sensitivity, which does come about as we bring more of our soul light into our bodies. But then there still continues to be a judgment of what it means to be a good spiritual person, a good aware person, a good whatever, compassionate person. And if you're not careful, we stay in this judgment. So part of the Scorpio energy is to bring to light where we are not owning our shadow, where we are not loving our shadow, where we are operating from a struggle paradigm that then creates a reaction that makes us project into the world something that we're not owning inside of us. Now, think of this in relation to cruelty and to judgment. So, you know, if you have grown up and you have had your needs met, your early life has been taken care of in such a way that you grew in a womb, that you were loved, you were birthed gently, kindly, consciously, even if there was a medical intervention, there was such love and consciousness around everyone involved, that the repair work was done immediately after you were born. so that any imprint from the birth that could be negative, or the pregnancy that could leave you in a challenging, limiting belief loop, is overridden. You held close, skin to skin. You're given the breast. You're given, wherever possible, the breast to nurture off. You are held tightly. You are not left to cry. Oh, hold on, not held tightly, held lovingly, just so we're clear. You're not left to cry, you know, because you're going to learn to fit into my routine, because that's the way it's going to go, sweetheart. Your needs are met early in life, and they continue to be met. And everything that happens in life, instead of you being judged and scolded and punished and made to feel less than and shamed and blamed and controlled through guilt and fear, if you didn't have all that early trappings as your early life, can you imagine yourself being capable of cruelty? And I ask you to really consider this, because, you know, the cruelty that exists in this world happens as a result of us separating ourselves from our humanity. Now, why would we do that? Well, we would do that because it's so painful to stay connected to our humanity that we just shut down. So this means horrible things have happened to us, or have happened to those we love, to such an extent that we've been in so much emotional and psychological and maybe physical pain that we have basically checked out. We've left the building. Now, when you look at those who are inflicting torture, terror in the world today, I know we love to think that they're just intrinsically evil and, you know, they don't have a heart. Just think about Darth Vader. In the end, what was the story behind this evil emperor dictator that was taking over the whole universe? Yeah. What was it behind that in the end? Heartbreak, right? It was loss. It was grief that was unprocessed. So when I talk about us really coming into this energy of compassion and kindness, doesn't mean we go, oh, it's fine to chop each other's heads off. Oh, it's fine to rape. Oh, it's fine to do this. Oh, it's fine to inflict pain and suffering on others because that's what happened to me. No, of course not. But we can accept at least why we have got to the place we've got to. And then we can ask the question, where do we want to go next? In case you missed it, I recently interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton. And if you're on my YouTube channel, you can check out the link to the interview with him, which was all about how we can co-create peace in one generation. And this was the science behind co-creating peace in one generation. Now, I would have thought, in the world that we're living in today, when we're so divided, when everyone's talking about the terrible things that are going on, that people would be quite interested in this, especially with a professional SEO that I've had done and all the rest of it. But we haven't even had 1,000 views yet, and it's over a month. Now, I know I'm onto something when something like this happens, and part of it might be me not knowing how to use the tech properly. Part of it might just be it's not the right time for this message to get out there. Part of it is actually just a recognition that we are not on the radar for peace. Humanity isn't having the conversation about what peace would look like. When I was looking up what peace means and how it's measured on this planet, it's mainly negative peace that is measured, i.e. the absence of war, the absence of missiles, the absence of what basically is genocide. And that made me think, really? Like, that's how we measure peace? Because that doesn't mean we're healthy, happy. It doesn't mean we're thriving. It doesn't mean we're well. It doesn't mean we're in love. It doesn't mean that we're feeling abundant and prosperous and affluent and that our needs are met. It just means we're not killing each other in such a way that it can be measured. So when it comes back to the Scorpio energy, Scorpio is typically connected with the underworld. Okay, now the underworld, you could say, is the shadow. It's to do with the occult. It's to do with the taboo. It's to do with, it could be sex. It could be jealousy. It could be the desire for control and power. Now, again, let's bring it back to starseeds, to empaths, to light workers, to way showers. Our role isn't to separate ourselves from what is uncomfortable, what is unpleasant, what is undesirable, what is, you know, unwanted. But it's actually to acknowledge that everything is part of the whole and to choose what we're going to energize through our imagination. Okay. So when we come together on Monday, what we're doing is we're using the energy of the Scorpio full moon to highlight where in our own lives more self-acceptance is required, where more compassion and kindness is being called for ourselves, then in our close relationships, and then as a result of this, how this reverberates out to the world at large. It's actually really hard to practice being consistently compassionate towards others if you don't give yourself compassion, to be kind to others if you're not kind to yourself. And kind to yourself means honoring your time, honoring your energy, honoring, you know, how much of you there is to go around, and the fact that you can't be everything to everyone. Now, think about this from the perspective again of how this relates to the Neptune and the Jupiter conjunction. So, no, Uranus and Jupiter, sorry. So Uranus is all about innovation, change, technology, the future. And Jupiter's a planet of expansion, of good fortune, of luck, of, yeah, basically moving things in new and expansive directions. And what's interesting is Jupiter rules over farming, rules over money, and one more thing, the environment. So there's innovations coming with these two conjuncting presently, and they do this every 14 years, but they haven't been in the sign of Taurus since 1941. And more so, the degree of Taurus that the conjunction is taking place is actually the dove of peace, I think it's called. No, the white dove degree, which to me is a symbol of peace coming, right? Now, in case you missed the memo, hello, I am the founder of the Star Peace Movement. You can check out what Star Peace Consciousness means and what the Star Peace Movement is all about by heading over to starpeaceconsciousness.com. And there's a manifesto there with a vision of a new reality, a new earth we can co-create together. I've created it just to inspire your imagination, but I want you to message me and tell me what else you would add to it and what would be even better than that, because this is us co-creating. And there's also, as you scroll down the page, all these different ways that you can actively get involved without it costing you a penny, to use your own energy to be part of the solution rather than the problem. And you know what that means, my dears? That means we don't keep gassing on about how terrible everything is. It means we don't keep sharing videos about the darkness of how things could get, about all the nastiness that we don't want to energize. What you focus on grows. So how can you share a problem and then be part of the solution? How can you say, hey, there's an issue here. We want to bring light to this, but let's focus on the solution we can create rather than problem. Do you get what I mean? So Scorpio Underworld links also to money. So there's a very interesting connection here. And I've been preparing to talk about this because I have a wonderful 3-month container and 3-night retreat that I'm planning for the Lionsgate this year. Now, what's been so interesting for me has been how people look at the vision that's been created and go, oh, a bit above my station, that. I don't think I can show up for that. I can't even like handle my life properly, never mind being a visionary leader for others. And I'm like, you're coming to join me to act as if, to make believe a new reality so that we can start to create it. And when you come together with others of same intention, we elevate each other's frequency. So no one's asking you to be perfect. We're asking you to come along and to connect with the Thrive paradigm, which is all about wealth, sacred union, joy, and peace. So here's the deal. There are deities that connect to wealth. Okay. Now we have Lakshmi, we have Kubera, we also have Pieace, and we have Tyche. Now, I'm just literally using the Indian and the Greek deities that have come to me to say, hey, work with us, right? And I've literally been invited to call their energy in every day to hold the frequency of wealth and sacred union and joy and peace, because those are all the Thrive paradigm. Now, I'm going to give you an example in a moment that's probably going to wind a couple of people up, but I'm going to ask you please to just stay with me on it, because it will show you what I mean and why I'm so emphatically passionate about how I talk about these things and how we must actually give from a full cup, from an overflowing cup, and at least aspire to that if we are here to be part of the solution in the New Earth paradigm, because we're all wounded healers on some level. We accept our woundedness, but we don't come from that wounding. This is the key. We cannot be shooting from the hip. We want to elevate consciousness to that higher heart, to the resolve place, and recognize there really is plenty for all. When we align with that, we see evidence of it. Takes you back to wealth. So Scorpio, underworld. Who's the god of the underworld? Well, in Greek mythology, it's Hades. Interestingly, the god of wealth, or the deity of wealth, is Pieace. Now, Pieace and Hades are the same god. Interesting. Now, here's another interesting fact around this. In the underworld, you will have heard that there is gold in claiming your shadow, right? Now, all the precious metals, all the precious gems, where do we find them? Deep underground. When you hear the saying that money is the root of all evil, or power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, greed is ultimately the essence of suffering, of evil on this planet, whatever you want to call it. we start to see where we've done a little bit of adding up and really got it wrong and thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Because ultimately, when it comes to it, money is not the root of all evil. Just like precious gems aren't the root of all evil, neither are precious metals. It's what people do to have more and more of them because they themselves are in lack consciousness. Therefore, however much they have is never enough. And as a result of that, there's this disproportionate need to have way more than anyone else and to stifle anyone else's capacity to have as much, because that way they feel powerful, more than, better than. There's the judgment piece that I'm talking about. And this is where, again, we can inflict the cruelty that happens in this world. We allow others to suffer, and we're okay with that because we've got enough. We're fine. We're plenty. Never mind. They'll just have to find their way. It's like, no, the point of having plenty is that we can serve others as well. We can actually support others to thrive and help them overcome the challenges that they have, so that we can then get them, they do the knock-on effect and the baton passes on and they are able to do the same for others. So imagine, just conceive of this, because if you want to plant it with me next week on Monday, just consider for a second the idea that you have so much, right? You're so comfortable with what you have that you're happy to give 50% of it away. 50% of it goes to other stuff. You don't even, it makes no difference to you. You have the capacity to generate so much that 50% of whatever you are receiving, you are able to put towards solutions in this world. And this isn't about a savior complex. This is about being part of the regeneration, not sustainability, regeneration. Okay, we've got to go a step further than the bottom line so that we can create that bottom line. That's why thinking big or go home, you know, the energy around actually having an expanded vision and allowing ourselves to challenge our mindset around money, around farming, and around the environment is so important, because there is a bit of an agenda going on, which, you know, has been going on for a long time. And we could say it's the powers that shouldn't be, or whatever you want to call them, that like to maintain this control through terror, through fear, through basically keeping people out of their authenticity and stopping them thinking for themselves. All of this is done. It's over. It's over. It's still playing out, but it's over. So with this full moon, what we're getting is the opportunity to see where in our own lives we're buying into old programs, old stories, lack, limitation, rigidity, which is then manifesting as cruelty or judgment in our own lives. Now, if you bring this to the relationship as well of what this conjunction is, the innovation required for us to shift from being wired to survive to being wired to thrive very much involves the capacity to reprogram the subconscious. And the Scorpio energy is all in the deep. It's all underground. It's all in the unseen. And there's another thing that's going on at the moment, is the veil between the unseen world and the world we know of is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. I can't tell you how many people are coming back to me. I did a video on TikTok about how our eyesight is shifting. And have you noticed any changes in your eyesight recently? Thousands of views and so many comments. Like, I was like, wow, hit on something here, because actually we're getting programmed to see through new lens. Are you going to see through a 5D lens? Are you going to see through a 4D lens or a 3D lens? Are you seeing through eyes of love or eyes of fear? Are you willing to activate your superpowers so you can be in communication with the unseen world, with deceased loved ones, with activating your psychic capacity, your intuitive capacity? Or is all of that just too damn scary? So you want to stick to what is definitely tangible, even though so much isn't, right? So the invitation that I'm really seeing, just to wrap this all up, is actually the invitation to now envisage the world that we really want to live in and bring that to life. And I will go a little bit into the manifesto for this next Scorpio full moon, because it feels important to activate the higher octave, the bird's eye view of what we're seeking to co-create in this physical reality in our lifetime, and then to do the cleaning up work, to just draw to the surface all the places where we don't believe it is possible. So think of this in terms of your personal dreams, right? Where do you really, really want something but just don't believe it's possible? Would you like to shift that? Would you like to actually clear the resistance to it so that you believe it's possible? If the answer is yes, then you want to join me on Monday at 8 o'clock, British Standard Time, summertime, okay? Now, how do you actually join me? You go along to my Instagram bio link. You'll see there that there is an invitation to join the Full Moon World Service. You can also go to RozyGlow, RozyGlow.com/events, and you'll see again there the invitation to join us. Now, we do personal, then we do collective. So what changes do you want to see in this world that fear are not possible? It's not going to happen. If you can't get behind it, how is it going to get energized in the collective? I mean, think about it, right? We've got to get really, really behind this. So again, the invitation on all levels, I'm just going to check if I've got any messages here from you lovelies, but the invitation on all levels is to dream a bigger dream. And I'm going to give you an example of Gaza and what's going on over there. And actually the fact that presently, you know, there is obviously lots going on that is horrendous over there. But what is also happening is something that is being set up by the onefield.com. You can check them out. The One Field, one as in the number, field as in the field.com. And this is bringing together all the different fractions of the Middle East, the different religions, the different beliefs, and saying, can we unite in an intention for peace? Can we unite in an intention to end violence? Can we unite in an intention to prevent further suffering and war and genocide? And so this is a meditative effort, as in it's a collective meditation effort, and it has inspired what I'm going to be doing with the Lionsgate container and retreat and the free world service meditation that I'm planning to offer everybody to join in and participate in on the 8th of August at 8:08 a.m. and p.m. Universal Time, because we want to hit critical mass. Every time you bring people together and you bring at least 9,000 plus together, you affect the field. Now, you know, if we want to change the field, we want to bring as many people together as possible in holding this common goal. And I see the Lionsgate, and we're all being prepared for it now, as the peace portal presently. It is the invitation for us to receive the peace codes, the Paradise Earth codes, the Atlantean Master Teacher codes, and also the Christ-like miracle codes. Now, maybe Christ consciousness isn't your thing, but miracles, we could all do with a miracle, right? The point with this is, if you can imagine that you will have a vibrational frequency, like the Matrix, you know, you see the green letters, they're creating a reality, right? So when I talk about codes, and I made another video about this as well on TikTok, I'm talking about the fact that what you're able to do is activate within you latent codes that you already have that allow you to be a vibrational resonance to that which you want to see in the world. For example, Paradise Earth. For example, star peace, becoming world peace through personal peace. For example, you know, creating the miracle which allows humanity to ascend from survival to thriving. You know, for example, remembering our mastery in terms of us being teachers of a new way of being in this world, the way showers, the influencers, the luminaries that can inspire a vision for others. That's what we're here to do. And that's what the invitation is. So it is a shout out. There's two-pronged approach here. One is those of you to join me for the 3-month container and the 3-night retreat, and those of you who are going to join the collective global effort to bring our energies together for a global meditation. Now, what I'll do when I'm finished is I will put the link in the text box, either above or below, of Lionsgate. I'm also going to put the link to starpeaceconsciousness.com, and I'm going to put the link to Bruce Lipton's video, because these are all essential in terms of us preparing to hold these frequencies. And, you know, what I will say is I'm seeing in a lot of luminaries, a lot of visionaries, there's been a lot of hardship in the last few years. I've just come through a 3-year terror detox, no lie. And I've seen so many of my brothers and sisters who are bringing the light to this earth have really challenging times to go through. Whether it's been created by our own inner resistance, our ego programming trying to stop us fulfilling our soul mission, or whether there's some kind of resistance in the collective, whether it's both, it doesn't really matter. What matters is we break through it. We reach escape velocity. We become the matrix in order to transmute it, to transcend it, to extend beyond it. And that is why it's so important we gather together, and no one's expecting perfection, and no one's expecting you to shine your shit. It's come real, come raw, come willing to make believe a new reality into our physical truth together. That's what we're doing. Okay, so that's what Lionsgate, Nurture Container and Portal is all about, and the retreat. And the full moon co-creation meditation world service, which is, there's a small fee for this, my friends. It's on the 22nd. It's the day before the full moon. Now the full moon in England peaks at, I think it's 12:24 a.m. on the 24th. So effectively that's the night of the 23rd. So we're doing it one day early just to really build the energy. So then the replay is available for those who couldn't join me live. It's £22, 22 pence to join us. There is a concession rate of 11.11. When you do you know, go to the link, it will have 11.11 in there. So please do change it to 22.22 if this is within your capacity, your price range, because I've wanted to make it available to everybody, and 50% of the profits actually do go towards grassroots efforts to prevent and minimize trauma passing from one generation to the next. So we've got Doulas Without Borders, we've got grassroots just giving pages where we've got people bringing their families out of Gaza. We've also got there's a medical front that is actually providing urgent medical care to those who are right there and suffering in the moment. So everything here is about us doing something that can make a difference. And if all of us do something, guess what? Something amazing actually happens. When we unify with a common intention, that is when miracles happen. So just to summarize this full moon energy for the star seeds, what's going to be coming up for us is heightened awareness, visionary shifts, because we're getting to see through a new lens. So if your eyesight's been all over the place, you're not alone. The main thing really is going to be to intend to see through your highest self, to see through your highest octave. Also, I'm going to ask you to consider where in your life could more kindness and more compassion actually be brought in. Where are you experiencing what might seem like a cruel twist of fate, or so much judgment, criticism, blame, shame coming up that's actually, you know, stopping you in your tracks? And it could be just, you know, tall poppy syndrome. It could be imposter syndrome. It could be fear of annihilation, fear of persecution. My goodness, we've all been there, right? So bring that with you so we can clear it. And if we look at what happened the last full moon, it was a lunar eclipse, and it was a lunar eclipse in Libra. So it was this inner masculine and inner feminine upgrade, Venus energy, goddess of love, and then the Martian energy of the fearless warrior. Now, these are just two of the archetypes of the sort of masculine, feminine, if you like, in terms of their higher octave. A lower octave would be the emasculated masculine and the entitled feminine. Or you can end up with the dictator energy, which we see a lot of in the masculine in the world. It's my way or the highway. And then the victim energy, the martyr energy in the feminine. So, you know, I'm just asking you to be aware of this. And the story I was going to tell you was actually about the irony of what happens when we really want to do good in this world, but we're doing everything on a shoestring budget because we are, you know, a non-profit organization, and, you know, we offer so much to so many, and it's so great, except I don't have a pot to piss in, and I'm struggling, and I don't have the money to be able to actually pay for this new thing that I need to pay for because it's actually broken. And I'm having to work 12-hour days, 15-hour days just to be there for others who really, really need us. That's got to stop. I'm sorry. That is not how we can create a new world from that place. If you're suffering to help others to be well, how can that possibly work in the long term? How can that be sustainable? And what this actually comes to is us challenging our presumptions, challenging our beliefs, challenging our expectations, and actually saying, is this serving me now? Or is it hindering? What's going on here? How is this helping me to fulfill my mission? And I say this as a woman who did the very thing that I've just been talking about, right? So when I ran my yoga business, it was all about everyone else. I didn't even have a salary out of it. I got what was left at the end of paying everybody. And I was relying on government handouts. I mean, my rent was primarily paid by the government. I was getting a single mother's weekly allowance, which is really hard to live off, constantly stressed around money, you know, not able to spend anything on myself. I could justify it through the business, that would be fine. And, you know, everyone is very happy with the service I'm providing them. And they're all, you know, actually quite capable of paying the fees that I charge, but I'm trying to make it less for everybody all the time because some people can't afford it. Well, this is the point. If you are charging at the level that is right for your energy, then you have an overflow to give to subsidize those who don't have enough without you lowering your frequency. And I'm saying that knowing that some of you are going to get pissed off with me. I love you. Please turn this trigger into a what should we call it? A glimmer of hope, and ask yourself, okay, how could I serve better those who require my help, my services, who I've got a soul mission to support, if I myself was feeling more well-resourced? Where am I lacking in my life? Do I want a sacred union? Could I benefit from having more easy income flowing to me? Do I require more time, more patience, more energy? What do you want? What do you need? Can you claim it? What do you desire and what do you require? All of this essential, because again, as I said, the Scorpio energy is really bringing us into this underworld. And just like the precious gems and the money, you know, when it comes to us finding the gold and the darkness, what we can do with it is replenish. Okay, we can regenerate, we can create more if we are honoring what we have. Now, if we think of this from a perspective of infinite supply, let's just use water as an example. You know, I hope for most of us who are watching this, that when we turn the tap on, water will be coming out of that tap. Now, do we leave the tap on? No, we turn it off whenever we don't need it. We know it's there. Now, this is actually going to relate also to psychic powers, and it's relating to the fact that as we are becoming more sensitive, more aware, and more kind of empaths already are there, right? In the sense that we're so sensitive to other people's energy. What I'm asking you to know is how important it is for you to take care of yourself energetically and not to stay connected to everyone all of the time, even though we're all connected. And I'll talk more about that on the actual full moon world service, because being sovereign in our energy, meticulous with our own energy, cutting off and not being connected to people all the time because we feel we have to, because we're in service to others, is so important. You have to self-care, and you will see with this full moon where self-care needs to be amplified, and that means have more fun, have more joy, right? So we will be evolving again, our inner masculine and our inner feminine, in terms of there being any wounding that's left over from the last full moon. And you know, the next new moon we will have is in Taurus, and this is an energy about material supply and material security, and it's important we feel secure in our physical reality in order to really be of service in this new world paradigm frequency. So I'm inviting you to bring with you, wherever your aspirations are, whatever lack exists in your world, let's transmute it. What was I going to say? Anything else here that is important? So we're going to be breaking rules, we're going to be releasing society's norms, and we're going to be thinking for ourselves. So we're truly unplugging from the fear matrix into the divine matrix. We're becoming more and more aware of the agendas that are intended to keep us where we don't want to be, and we are choosing something different. And yeah, I am encouraging everybody who has some kind of humanitarian or environmental goal and passion for change that is motivated in terms of actually supporting the world to thrive rather than survive, to really pay attention to where in your own life you could be thriving more rather than surviving. And this is going to be the change that we make in ourselves, that we see in the world. So please do let me know how you experience everything I've just shared. I've gone for quite a long time now, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm just going to thank you all so much for your participation. Please do comment. Please do use the link to connect. And if you are interested in the retreat and the container, I've been called to Portugal next week. I'm going to actually be part of something called the New Earth Festival, and I'll put a link to that as well in case you want to come and join us. Lovely Karila, and also who else was there? Laura Bedo, and also Solara, all invited me in, and I was very lucky to be offered an opportunity to actually share the Star Peace message. So I'm going to be doing my first talk at a festival about Star Peace next weekend. Now, why is that important? The early bird for the retreat in the container has been extended to the 5th of May. But my diary is full, folks, at the moment, in terms of there being space in my calendar to speak. I'm going to jump on a live with the lovely Jane, hopefully either on Sunday or Monday coming, so that I can open up the space to have conversations with those of you who are interested on Wednesday lunchtime. Thursday, I go to Portugal, and it's going to be very difficult for me to speak until I get back, which will be the following Tuesday. So if you're interested, look at the link around the Lionsgate And please book your call now. Don't leave it. Book your call to speak to me. It's just 15 minutes. This is us having a quick chat to see whether or not this retreating container really is for you. And if it isn't, that's cool. No pressure to buy whatsoever. It's really just, I'm not taking anyone into this container without having spoken to them and connected with them first. So please make sure you make the most of this phenomenal opportunity, because part of the Lionsgate retreat and the container is about expanding your energetic architecture to be ready to receive the downpour of blessings that you have called in. Most of us are not ready to receive what we say we want. Okay. I love you so much. Thank you so much for your participation. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments and I'll do my absolute best to respond. And I look forward to seeing you either on Monday, well, on Monday for the Lionsgate, sorry, for the full moon co-creation, and hopefully also for the container and the retreat. And if you know you would like to participate in the global meditation, go to starpeaceconsciousness.com and make sure you add yourself to the manifesto and the mailing list so that I can then let you know about the free meditation that's going to be going on the 8th of August, which I'm inviting everyone to participate in. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Take care for now.